down here from Santa Cruz, and you moved to OB.
Yep. Yeah. Right to OB, and I felt like I was still at home. I mean, like OB is very, very hippie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So is Santa Cruz. I mean, like
Sister cities.
Santa Cruz used to be the LSD capital of the world, and then I feel like maybe OB might have taken that.
Yeah.
I don't know. San Francisco worked pretty hard back in the 60s trying to take that title.
But did you, now is this before or after, because you said you played baseball at San Diego State?
Yeah. I mean, I never even picked up a bat, but I came down here to play baseball.
Okay. Were you living at OB then, or after State did you go back to Santa Cruz?
I came straight from Santa Cruz right down to play ball at San Diego State.
Nice. Yeah. Landed in OB. That was a calling, because it was an easy transition for you.
Totally. Well, and the thing about Ocean Beach at the time was it was shockingly affordable to live. It's not anymore, but as you guys know, but it was, I mean, I think it was me and 3 other guys. We had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and our rent was $1,100, and we were right on the water.
So you go through State. What happens next? You stay in OB for a little bit, or?
No. So I met my wife, and then we got married in 2004. So right after I graduated, and moved up to Encinitas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how you got up there.
That's how I got up there. Yeah. My business partner now, John Maddox, had brought me on to do real estate finance. I had graduated San Diego State to be an elementary school teacher, which is just crazy. Business background, but elementary school teacher. I wanted to just work with kids. And my first job offer out of college was for $24,000 a year. And I was engaged at the time, and I ran into John, who I'd worked with him at a church years prior and hadn't seen him. And then he pulls up in this like brand new 7 Series Beamer. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, you still work at the church? And he's like, oh no, I started this real estate finance company, this mortgage company. And I'm like, I don't even know that word. What's mortgage? So he shares with me about it, asked me what I'd been doing, told him I was engaged and going to make a whole bunch of money, $24,000 a year. And he was like, I can help you make that in your first month.
Wow.
And I was like, well,
that sounds good.
Yeah. I was like, I really want to teach, but getting married, you have to make money. And if you want to live anywhere in San Diego, even when it was cheaper, it's still. So that kind of started our whole journey. John and I
tossed the degree out the window, and you became a mortgage broker.
Yeah. So I'd done that now for like 22 years. Amazing job. But I am officially retired from that as well, and 100% dedicated to Bobamos. So
what was it about? Did you like being a mortgage broker?
Loved it. Totally loved it.
What was calling you to create this new vision?
My wife in 2017 started a champagne sparkling wine club. So kind of like a wine of the month. So she curates, she's a somm, she's amazing, and curates these small batch champagne and sparkling wines, and you get 3 bottles every month delivered to your door. And when COVID hit, her business went through the roof.
Oh yeah.
And so at that time, John and I were drinking a ton of tequila, and we're like, I wonder if what she's doing, importing these really small families that make arguably the best champagne in the world, I wonder if that exists in Mexico. So we were like, let's go down there. So we checked it out, and we're like, holy crap, there's some tequila here that is better than anything in the country, and no one knows about it because these families are maybe making 1,000 bottles. And so no importer or distributor or whatever picked that up. It's just a bad business plan for them. But for us, we wanted to do a club like my wife's. So we just essentially stole her whole business plan and then moved it over to tequila. And so she does bubbles, I do tequila.
She's the brains of the relationship.
She really is. I mean, she always has been. So shout out to my wife, Shiloh, for sure.
So the inspiration came from your wife, but how did you go from this? It sounds like you were thinking about something with a subscription model to where you guys are at now. And
great question.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Yeah. So we were importing these families, and I mean, spending every 6 weeks we were down in Mexico, which was amazing. Just getting to really dive into the culture, but also getting to know the families well that we were working with. And so through that, about 2 years into We Drink Tequila, having this quarterly subscription, one of the families that we work with, we love dearly, was like, hey, we're farmers. For the most part, they're agave farmers, and they have this small operation making really, really incredible tequila, and that's what we were bringing in to the States. But they were like, we sell off so much agave, and the price for agave is like pennies on the dollar versus what you get when you make tequila. So the simple solution would be, well, why don't you just make a whole bunch of tequila and then you can do that? But there's no market for a new brand. You have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for, to enter into the market here. You have to sign your life over to an importer, distributor. So there's a lot of tricky things that go with that. And so they brought up the idea of like, hey, what if we partner and do something together? We can sell less of our agave, we can make more tequila, and we can do something great. So that's where Bobamos came about, was just us saying like, look, obviously we would love to keep working with them and growing with them. And this just created that partnership opportunity. So
Similar to in the coffee business where they have fair trade, or there's this push to celebrate the farmer. I mean, does that sound like that's part of the process here?
totally. Yeah. And I think that was the thing for us when we even started We Drink Tequila, was we didn't want to be famous. We didn't want it to be about us. We didn't want to slap our name on someone else's bottle and say, hey, check us out. It was like, we want to tell their stories. So we were making mini documentaries about these families. We were releasing it to our club members and online and all that stuff, because we were like, you should know about this family. Not the Jenners or The Rock or Mark Wahlberg or George Clooney. Like I don't know what they have to do with tequila.
It's a reverse script.
Yeah, I was like, we need to know about these families. These are the people who are growing it, who make it. I mean, this is generations of dedication. And so we wanted to tell their story. We never wanted to create our own tequila brand for that reason. We just didn't want to bridge that gap between like, hey, we're Americans, what do we have to do with tequila? But through this journey and through these relationships, it actually totally does make sense. And it's a gift to them, and it's been amazing for us.
When you're going down in these areas you're going down to, they're ag areas, right?
Yeah.
So it's sparse at best, right? Probably not a lot of money, I would imagine. What is it like? What surprised you the most that you learned about the people or the culture, the communities you're in?
The craziest thing for me is that it's not nearly as dangerous as everybody builds it up to be. I mean, it's a different country, yeah, but I've traveled to a lot of different places around the world that people seem to think are safe, and I felt much less safe there than I do when I'm in Mexico. There's just obviously, just like anything, don't go to the wrong spot. Yeah, don't do stupid stuff. Don't go to the wrong spot. But what I love the most about the culture was, and this took some getting used to, being American and wanting to just make deals happen, be efficient with time, is with a lot of these families, before we ever even got to taste their tequila, we would spend an entire day with them, eating, talking, experiencing their culture and their farms and all this. And then we would sit down and taste tequila. And sometimes that was like after 2 or 3 meetings. So for me, I was like, I just, and then the sad part was sometimes it wasn't amazing. And you just built this incredible relationship, and you're like, oh, we're not going to import your tequila. It doesn't fit with what we're trying to do, but we love you. And so it's so much more about building relationships with people, and then the business is second. Whereas here, it's usually the opposite. So it was something that we fell in love with. It took a minute to adjust, but totally fell in love with it.
Speaking of dangerous, I mean, what's a tequila, purveying trip? What does that consist of? I mean, when you go down there for a week and you get to know these families, like how much tequila are we drinking? Like, walk us through something like that.
How much tequila are you drinking?
Like, this is a liver danger question.
Yeah, like you're gonna go down there for a week and sample tequila all week. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's probably like a bottle a day
Each?
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah. It's not. But
Got a tolerance.
Yeah, no. It's
Yeah.
also
That
though,
size
like,
bottle, or what do we?
yeah. But it's pure, right? So what we're drinking is like really, really good stuff.
Was there any experience or anything that occurred that you didn't like, other than having to reject a family that you didn't ultimately fall in love with their tequila?
I mean, those are tough. There are cartel instances, but never in a way that you would see like in Narcos or in a movie or whatever. And we have to we have to play by a lot of the rules. And so in order to get our tequila into the country, that, we have to drive trucks on roads. So certain roads, you pay a fee.
Yeah.
But it's only when you're not willing to acquiesce, then that there's a problem, which we're very happy to put that in the budget and say, let's just keep everybody happy.
When you going back to when you reject a family like that, how does that message get delivered?
Yeah, it's awkward, especially because you've spent time, right? If you just show up places and you taste stuff, you go like, oh, cool, thanks, and then you just take off.
Right.
But when you've spent time, it really comes down to just explaining that it's not what our customer is looking for, that we, love what they're doing. We love their process, the way they take care of their agaves. So much for them is about the plant itself. Like they want to honor the way that they're growing it. And so a lot of times it doesn't translate. Maybe when they're distilling it, they're not making their cuts when they should, but the product is the plant, and a lot of them take so much pride in that. So when you're complimenting like their agaves, they're fine if you're like, oh, we're not going to take the tequila. They're like, yeah, cool, but you like the agaves,
plant,
good, right? Yeah,
I did good here.
Yeah.
Preston, tell us a little bit about the vibe and the energy around Bobamos, the ads and that kind of 70s. Am I right? Would you say 70s?
Late 60s, early 70s.
It looks a lot like the time I was born, and the pictures of my mom and dad. I mean, maybe they weren't hanging out on a tennis court in a Porsche and all that kind of stuff. But I think that when you look at it, it does remind us so much of old Southern California, San Diego. And is that where did that come from, and what was the answer?
I love that you get that too. Like that, our whole vision was to recreate the late 60s, early 70s Southern California look, feel, vibe, even texture of.
Were you
of that
born like
experience.
76, 75?
I wasn't. No, but I was born in 1980.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I've resonated with that time my whole life. I mean, even when I moved down here, I've always shopped thrift stores. I looked like I was from the late 60s. And it wasn't until I had to get a real job and start earning money that I was like, I can't really wear thrift store clothes every day. So I had to get the suit and the tie and the jacket. But now that I'm able to kind of build back into this time period, I'm like, oh, it just resonates so much with me. And when you see movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you're like, okay, that was an era that people want. And so even as we've recreated this, the sentiment is like, finally, like you're creating a world that we want to live in. And that was what we wanted to do with Bobamos. Was we were like, beyond it being the most incredible tequila I've ever had, we wanted the bottle, the experience. We wanted everything to say like, come step into this world. And so drink Bobamos, and that's going to kind of bring you into this great time in history. And it was, I mean, the late 60s, early 70s was coming right out of, a bunch of political upheaval and war. And, like we're kind of in that same time now in a different way, but I almost feel like we're resonating with what was happening then. So hopefully we can get back to peace, love, and fish tacos and Bobamos.
It's funny because we had a Jeffersonian dinner with my family where you pick a topic and each person spends 5 minutes talking about it. Then we get to ask questions. And during my daughter's topic, this was last year, she said something like, you were so lucky to be born when you were. And I was like, why would you say that? She's like, because there were no cell phones. I was like, really? No, you would rather. I'm like, you live on your cell phone. You'd rather be born in a time without it. She's like, yeah, because I have to be on it because they're all on it. But if I could go back and not and be in a world where they don't exist, then it would be great. Yeah. There'd be no pressure to be on a cell phone. I'm like, wow. What? I mean, your brain kind of speaks to that answer she gave.
Yeah. That's wild and profound for her to say that.
Yeah. Shocked me. I was like, all right.
You even see in some of the ads, some of the old phones, and I mean, the props you guys have in some of the ads look rad. I mean, it doesn't seem like an easy thing to pull off that. I mean, everything from
he just came out of his closet. I mean, shops at thrift stores.
But even the shades on the tables or different stuff, like it really does have that old school feel there.
Thank you. Yeah, we've curated a lot of stuff, worked really hard, and our other co-founder Patrick Tracy, who does all of the visual for us. I mean, like the amount of work that he's had to do to to create this experience. And we have a storage unit in Solana Beach that's massive, and it's all essentially these pieces, because when we do events, we try to turn them into that vibe. So I mean, you kind of walked into our world moniker, but it was like, we want you to be able to step in and be like, oh, okay, I get what you're doing here. I feel it. Let's go.
I think about the like Paul Mitchell story, talking about going salon to salon back in the day, trying to get people to hook his product. You know, what is it like today? Like, I mean, it's a competitive space, right?
Oh.
So, did you bring it through your club first, and then how does that transition to market? Like,
Yeah, we did bring it through the club first, but we also we kind of blitzed it. So it came through the club, but it also just hit the world. We did Cinco de Mayo was kind of this soft launch that we did to kind of dabble and introduce ourselves to the market. But June 2nd was when we actually had real product to start selling, and that's when we started going into restaurants and bars and being like, hey, you want to carry this? And so much of even the thought on how we created this was with that intention of knowing, like, this is a crowded space. It's a hard market. People are drinking less now than they used to. Now, something good about it is they're drinking less, but they're drinking better quality. So we kind of fit into that market, but it's a Joven. So a Joven in tequila language is a blend. So ours is Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo all in one. So it really gives you this complex experience when you're drinking it. But also from a market standpoint, when we go into a bar or a restaurant and we're like, hey, we have a tequila, they're like, oh my gosh, like, we have 1,000 tequilas. Why do we need another one? And then I just go, how many Jovens do you have? And most places are like, what's a Joven? And then you get to educate them on what it is. And then they're like, all right, fine, let me try it. And really it's that like that liquid to lips magic when people are like, damn, all right. That's good.
Well, pretty
That's good.
What were some of the things you learned over time as you dove into that culture down there and you learned more about drinking tequila, and not only the process of making it, but like some of their rituals or different things that they were really into? What were some of those things that probably caught you, off guard, if you will?
Bottle service was the craziest thing. We think of bottle service as like going to clubs and whatever. Most of the restaurants there, you can order a bottle of tequila like you would order wine on a menu, and they just bring you the bottle of tequila, give you your cups, and then they usually have this like, it's almost like a tomato option, like a like tomato juice and like lemon lime option, but all of them, they just drink it neat, clean, easy. Every once in a while, someone random will like mix it with Coke, which is strange.
that sounds strange.
But really, like, to sit down at a restaurant and have a bottle of tequila with your buddies, I was like, this is cool. And so even trying, as we've started sharing that story with a lot of people that are carrying Bobamos now, we're like, do bottle service. Like, that would be awesome for people to just be like, yeah, just having lunch, let's get a bottle. And I know it seems crazy.
This is a guy who had 29
No,
drinks
yeah, I know
last night.
I know it seems aggressive, but it really isn't. Like, you think about it, like, if you were out with 4 people, you would probably go through 2 bottles of wine. So if you're out with 4 people, 1 bottle of tequila, it seems about fair. You're with me.
It's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start.
You're with me. Come on, man.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Is on that Joven comment, is it similar to blended wine where you have different grapes? Is it different agave plants that?
No. So it like, a lot of times we use that Meritage example so that people can kind of wrap their head around it, but it's different in the sense that they're different years. So it's 3 different harvests that are in this. So the Blanco is unaged and was harvested at a different time than the Reposado has been aged for 8 months in oak barrels. And then our Añejo is 22 months in oak. So 3 different harvests, 3 different essentially years. And so it would be more like a perpetual reserve that they do in Champagne, where they're blending different years together.
Yeah, I'd never heard the word Joven before either. So
Yeah.
that's pretty catchy. So you literally are going around talking restaurant to restaurant. That's and is that the state today, or is?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah. So for us, we're San Diego locals. This is our home. We want to own our backyard before we go expand to anywhere, even Orange County or San Francisco or anything like that. And so for us, it's like we hit the streets. We have an incredible sales team, and we just go out and share the story. That's it. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're all, and I think the local thing helps because most places are starting to see that when you support local, you get local support. So it's this, kind of perfect storm for us to say like, hey, this is our home. We want you to carry Bobamos. We're, how many tequilas in San Diego are local tequilas? It's only a couple, and none of them are I would say premium tequilas. So it's a unique thing for us. But yeah, we're out there just pounding the pavement every day. Yeah, I mean, we have this great group chat with our sales team, and it's like every day there's just this amazing wins, holding up the bottle in front of the restaurant, like, we're in here, we're in PCG, we're in, like all these new spots. And so it's just a great celebration because it is hard to get your product into a new place. I mean, there's even as down to as simple as they're like, we don't want to reprint our menu. I'm like, totally, we get it.
You're like, we'll pay to reprint it.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll take care of you. Yeah.
So is it meant? I'm not quite sure if I understand like that the agricultural aspect. You decided a winner at some point. You're working with a single family. Is it a bunch of families?
Just one family.
And then are they expanding their tequila process then?
Yeah.
Did they have capacity to do what you're doing?
They had the space for them, and so they've just expanded their capacity by adding bigger fermentation tanks, bigger storage tanks. So we're growing together, and we're taking it slow. We don't want to just blitz this. It's still a very boutique product. I mean, what's wild is we have 20,000 bottles coming across the border. It actually just got an email saying that it just crossed today. So super excited to get those. But it sounds like a lot of tequila, but it's really not that much. Like 20,000, like there's actually no brands that exist that are only doing 20,000 bottles in the United States. So we're still very boutique, but we do want to grow. We do want to sell, and the reality is we want people to taste this because it's great.
How do you plan to scale when you start with a small local farmer? Obviously, there's probably other farmers you can use in the region, but what's the game plan there as you expand?
It's to stay with them.
Okay. And they have enough product that'll allow you to do that?
That's the beauty of this family. Like I was saying, it's like they're farmers first, and they farm about 1,000 acres of agave. So they've got a ton, but they just, whenever they're doing their harvest, they sell it off. And when I say pennies on the dollar, it's like, it's much less than that. It's pesos on the dollar. Like, it is a tiny amount of money, but it's been their business for 100 years, so it's just adding more value to them to say like, hey, sell a little bit less this year, sell a little bit less the next year. And our hope is that they don't have to sell agave ever again, that we can make all of it with us, and we can make up to 100,000 cases a year with the land that they have, which is a lot. I don't think that's in the cards for us, but that would be amazing.
How long is 20,000 bottles last year right now with current, sales and what you have going on?
Yeah. So we went through 2,400 bottles in 2 months. And I only see it moving faster as we get into more accounts and more people hear about Bobamos. I don't know. I mean, my hope is that it only like a couple months, and then we're like, hey, we need to make more tequila. Let's do it. So, and the beauty is the Blanco can be harvested and distilled and made in about 2 weeks. The Reposado and the Añejo are aged, so it's like you could kind of get pinched there because you need to have that, but they have a warehouse of barrels aging that are Reposado and Añejo for this exact purpose. So we're in a good spot.
So this next question, if you don't want to answer this one, we could either edit it or you can just say, I don't want to answer it.
I'll just say it. And then
how do you protect that relationship as you grow? Are you co-investors? Is it a contractual that they're only doing tequila with you and that they'll allocate the agave? But let's say demand just jumped. You got a big contract or whatever, and you need 5X. How do you keep someone else from going to them at some point?
Yeah. So we have a contract with them. which is nice. So we are their sole import distributor for the United States. So anything that they make, if someone were to go to them and say, "Hey, we want to,"
You could block
all
it from
this.
coming in the U.S.
Exactly. So they'd have to pick different markets. The other thing is that we, with the family, we're partners. So for them to not want to continue that partnership, we would either have to have totally screwed something up, or the offer was beyond great. But even still, they would be limited with what they would do.
Does that mean you're co-investing in the manufacturing process of the tequila?
We're kind of crossing
Got it.
streams with each other. Yeah,
So you really embed together.
totally. Which is a good thing.
Then
I
you can
think
pull their
it's-
story and put it in front.
Yeah.
Or is that what you're doing?
Theirs.
Is their story a part of it?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So we didn't want to get into the arms race with every other tequila brand, which is constantly saying, our family is more authentic than your family. We're more Mexican than you. We have these legacies and we have this, and this is our agave. We have all of that stuff with our family, and it's amazing. But rather than getting stuck on that and that being our story, instead, we're telling a lifestyle. Buy into the Bobamos lifestyle. This is what we're creating. Now, if you want to nerd out, that's my jam. We can do that for days. I obsess about those details. And so we have that, but that's not what we're leading with. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I was thinking back to, like when I first graduated college and met a business relationship in Texas. And he's like, you're going to love this little Mexican restaurant we're going to. They have this blend of red wine I love that you're going to love. And I drank it. And I'm like, this is amazing. He's like, it's $11, but there's only one place in the state of Texas you can get it, one distributor. And within a week, all the cases will be gone. So he's like, I'll tell you when it's coming, and they'll only sell you one case. And so I had no money. I'm making like 50 grand a year, so I went and bought a case, but I drank that whole case myself over, whatever, a year or something. And I'm like, it was amazing. And that company's website has the dog on the website from the farm, the grape pickers had a profile on their website. And I eventually, when we moved here, I started finding a distributor here I could get it through. I've been buying those bottles for like 25 years now, and can get, special orders still from the same small wine. And it's that story and connection, it's lifestyle. It's kind of like all that, where it's not an expensive bottle. It's like $18. And I still love it, even though, as you get older, you can invest in.
Yeah.
I still have a personal connection to it.
What's the name of the brand?
It's Murrieta. It's a Sonoma wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That connection that you have with that family because of this story, that is exactly what we're trying to draw on. Like there has to be some sort of connection that you say, like, when I think about Bobamos, it makes me feel some way, versus just it's alcohol I drink because I like to get drunk or whatever. Like we want it to mean something to you beyond just being a product.
Well, that's why people go to Napa and Sonoma, right? They want to feel a connectedness to where it's grown. Are you going to it's a little bit harder, right? Taking people down to Mexico, but are like,
we're bringing our team down there at the beginning of next year to really experience it, because a lot of them haven't been. So that'll be the start. And I think what happens coming out of that is, like, when you come home, you just can't help but talk about it. A couple of years ago, when we started We Drink Tequila, we got founding members, the first 50 people that kind of invested in growing this idea. So we took about 26 of them down with us, and we were there for 3 days, and it was like
life-changing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just because.
Dude, I want to do it.
Well, yeah, come on.
Let me know next
on
time
down.
you're going
Yeah.
down. Let's go.
Segue.
It really is a special time. Yeah.
Are you going to, you look like you're looking at it to crack it open. And if you are, feel free.
There's a lot of talk about going and tasting tequila,
As you do that, I love the way it looks. It's so badass.
Thank you. And then this is our cool little feature, and then this screws off. And
yeah, that's really cool.
so
Whose idea was that?
it was mine. Yeah, but it was really it came out of wanting to have something that wasn't gimmicky, but that mattered. So I don't know if you guys drink Blanton's or know, like on Blanton's, it's a bourbon, and their topper is this, it's just a horse. but every horse has a letter that spells out Blanton's. And so people collect the horses to be able to spell out Blanton's, and then they send that back to Blanton's. They put it in a stave and send it back to you.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's a pretty cool thing. And it's like, how do we create something cool like that? But that actually is practical, because I didn't want someone collecting, little figurines or something. And so that's where this came. But I'm like, someone had to have done that before.
I love it.
No one's ever done it. So we patented this, which is great.
Oh, really? That's super cool. Well, as you're pouring there, how come you only have two?
I was getting them for you guys.
Well, you could have.
Oh,
You have to have one, right?
I'm gonna drink from the bottle.
Yeah, perfect.
Bottle
Will
service.
you have? Do you imagine? That experience in Mexico is the deep level, right? Where somebody's really geeking out. I could imagine that as you're sending your team down there, they're bringing it home. You're creating it here in San Diego. Does it end up having a flag at some point that's a tequila restaurant and a destination place for people to come and almost experience a bit of what you've brought home from there?
That would be amazing. Yeah, I think we've talked about having a Bobamos lounge or a Bobamos speakeasy, because we've recreated that in a couple of our events. You were at one. We did at Rare Society as well. Their side room in Solana Beach, we converted into essentially a speakeasy lounge. Definitely something like that would be so cool, just for someone to be able to immerse themselves in that.
Yeah, for sure. Mia, will you text Wayne and see if he's in the building? If he is, tell him to come down.
Yeah, tell Wayne to come down.
Wayne's.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, salute, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
This is
Super smooth.
Tasty.
goes good with coffee.
It goes great with
It
anything.
does.
Sure, huh?
It's crazy because it doesn't have a strong smell at all.
No,
So,
it's subtle.
Fucking, some tequilas like go straight into your sinus and like kind of inflame it up a little bit, and your nose starts running. It's like my wife hates that. I'll be at a restaurant and I always, whatever the liquor is, I like to really smell it.
Yeah.
It's real soft.
Yeah, it's a
When
delicate drink.
When you go from a subscription business, you start talking about wanting to be another tequila company. I mean, some people probably said you're out of your mind. Like, what were some of those things that obviously the feedback you're getting is you're probably getting investors and things like that. How did you get through all that and explain that we're going to do something different?
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of encouragement at first. I mean, because we were like, yeah, we're going to start a tequila company, and people are like, that is ridiculous. And now, granted, people are like, it's a crowded space, but any business in the world, I mean, think of
Yeah, there's
anything.
no uncrowded
Everything is
space.
crowded
Yeah.
if you can make money at it or do something great. So we knew that going in. I was introduced to a guy who had sold his tequila brand about 10 years prior. Great guy. Peligroso Tequila was his brand. And he tried, I mean, had to spend a couple hours, different conversations, tried over and over to talk us out of starting a tequila company. He's like, look, it is so much work. It's a grind. You're obviously in the alcohol business. Your poor liver is going to fall out. But he's like, at the end of the day, what you're doing is unique. It obviously tastes incredible. The family, he knew them, and he's like, I vouch for what they're doing. And he's like, I did make a lot of money when I sold my tequila company. So I get that part too. But it was a lot to even get to have the first investor conversation. I mean, we didn't want to have any half-baked ideas in what we were doing and sit down and start talking to people. We wanted to know that every question someone could ask, we already had thought through that answer in 100 different ways. And so we spent almost 2 years before we ever even talked to one investor about starting this brand. And we had just been building everything on the back. And so I don't know if you ever got to see the magazine that we made.
Oh,
So we wanted to always do things different, and really to theme with our time, we made our pitch deck actually a magazine that looks like a late 60s Rolling Stones magazine. And so every page is another piece of culture of what we're doing in Mexico, but also tying into our vibe of the 60s and 70s. And so as you read through it, you're not being told all the numbers and all the graphs and pie charts, and it's not a PDF. You're kind of like experiencing it. And at the end, then it's like, hey, if you want to see all the like, not so fun stuff, we can send that to you too. And that's how we started the whole pitch for raising capital, was like, we want to show you what we're capable of before we show you how this can be profitable.
It sounds like you guys do so many different things that are different. Do all the sales reps give out matchbooks as their business?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't give it.
I thought it was genius.
So this is mine. That's my business card.
That's cool.
So it's got my number, and then if you open it on the inside, it just says "Ask for
That's
Preston."
such a rad idea.
Thanks. Yeah, we just wanted everything to be different. I love that.
This is our buddy Wayne.
What's up, man? How you doing, Preston? It's nice to meet you. Yeah, great to meet you.
Wayne, can you join us for a minute or two?
Sure.
Wayne he was the CMO of the Padres, and he knows a little bit about different liquor markets and things like that. And I just think you're two personalities that had to know each other. And I knew you'd probably have some sexy shirt on that would add color to this. So
Cheers. Yeah, cheers.
cheers.
What's up, boys? Happy whatever day of the week it is. Everything.
Now we've gotten to where we are. People are like, oh, this was amazing. Like you're an overnight sensation, those kinds of things. But we know that there were like 12 literal miracles that had to occur to get to this place in time. Yeah. I'm sure you've had several of those already. What's a miracle or two as somebody creating a brand in a difficult space to penetrate? What have you had to overcome?
I mean, yeah, I go, there's 100 of them, just because, again, like you said, with tequila, there's so many tequilas. What makes us special? I think the biggest thing that stands out as a miracle was the juice itself. We knew exactly what we wanted it to taste like and to smell like and to look like, but we had to create that. And so it didn't come overnight. I mean, I can't tell you how much tequila I've had to drink to get to this. I know it sounds bad, but like, you really do have to kiss a lot of frogs to get to where you want to go. And I mean, we were making some blends and I was like, it's a 10 out of 10. And everyone's like, yeah, celebrating. I'm like, that's not Bobamos though. Mm-hmm. I know what it is, and we haven't gotten there. And so there was a point where my business partner, John, was like, dude, just pick one. Yeah, it's amazing. It's all amazing. But I'm like, no, I know what it is, and we're going to get there. And now that we're here, I'm like, every day, I'm like, that's Bobamos. When I smell it, I mean, if there were 50 different tequilas here and I could smell every single one, I'd tell you easily, hands down, that one's Bobamos. It's just because it resonates, for something about it even resonates with the culture and the time to me. Like, even when I taste it, I'm like, yeah, that's the 70s. Like it hits on all points. So anyways, it was a miracle to get there, because also I'm not the easiest person to work with. And so the fact that the family didn't just say, screw you guys, the fact that, John wanted to continue to be my partner, that we went through all these things to get here, I was like, that it took a lot. Yeah. That being said, getting into bars and restaurants is a miracle right now. And at the pace that we have is insane. The fact that 100 places in San Diego are carrying Bobamos 2 months in, I think that's unheard of. I don't think that's ever happened. Even with I don't think Casamigos was in 100 places in their first 2 months. So it's a testament, to the sales team that we have and the relationships that they build. Obviously, Tyler is just a savage, but it also is the product that we're selling. I think that part helps.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Tyler Wilkinson on this. I mean, that one of the greatest salespeople ever walked the face of the earth. Tell us about getting Tyler on the team.
So it's my not drinking time.
Yeah, same.
I've known Tyler since maybe 2008, 2009. Love him. Everybody loved. How could you not love the guy? To get him to leave his job and come work for us was a challenge until he tasted it. And he was like, and he was a vodka guy. He was always, vodka sodas and stuff. He tried it and he's like, damn,
He called me right away.
Did he really?
Oh, he's like, I found my next career.
Oh, no way.
And I've heard that a few times from Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah, he was built for this job, though. Like, of all the jobs in the world, he was built to be the sales director for Bobamos Tequila. He didn't know it yet. We didn't know it yet. But as soon as it happened, like, have you met Tyler?
No,
Oh, you have to.
but it's magic when the person aligns with the product.
Yes.
Because it's important. I mean, they're going to be the face. As much as you will be, you know, the chances of someone interacting with any of us, right? But when you have a sales team out there or your staff out there, they're the ones that if they're not living and breathing it, if you can't get them to be as excited about what you're doing, they'll never be as excited as you are, but you try to get them as close to that as you can because, you know, we say on our team, it's like, you know, we have our differentiators and then one of them is we just give a shit. Right. If you just give a shit, like it's so simple, but the person on the other end of that Zoom screen actually feels like you give a shit, it's going to matter. If you're walking in with a product, you're like, I believe in this.
Yeah.
It just separates you immediately. You feel it coming through and that helps sell. I mean, it's
authenticity.
No, it's not a
it's
sell.
literally just, you know.
It's authenticity. I mean, you can tell when somebody's speaking from the heart, you know, and it differentiates how you receive it than somebody just hucking something.
And Tyler loves Bobamos. He loves it. Like, I think he sleeps with a bottle. Like, he loves it so much. And
Was he part of the 29 drinks last night?
no.
Oh,
He was
okay.
27 of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say he probably did that on his own somewhere else, but no, he has more energy than anyone I've ever met. Is like Energizer Bunny. He just goes and goes and goes, and every relationship is intentional for him. Like he's eye contact. He's in the moment. He's not just like, check this out, cool, on to the next. Like he wants it to be a win for every single person he's talking to. And because he believes in Bobamos so much, he's like, you need to carry this because it will be a win for you. He's like, I know you don't know it. I know it seems like I'm just doing this for me, but he's like, if you have this in your restaurant, it's going to be a win for you. And I think they sense that. They're like, huh, it's not a sale. It's just his passion for the company coming out. But yeah, that's another miracle is for him to say like, yeah, I'm going to leave my great job to go, you know, sell tequila. It seems risky.
We talk about it with you guys all the time. It's like you're either going to fit our culture or you're not. And if you're not, it's okay. It's totally fine. Yeah. The culture is what it is, you know, and I think it's powerful to when you do find that person who's sitting across and you're having that drink, whether you're doing a deal or not, you're just like, all right, we can work together. This will work. You know, it is magic. It's magical.
I love even being like, hey, we're not going to work together, but I'd like to hang out with you.
Sure.
Like, this is great.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I tried that with Jamie a few times. It's like, I don't know if I can keep drinking like this, but I mean, we could try real hard.
Like, I gotta Now you sober moved up one of these upstairs. days. Preston, what are some things you think Bobamos pairs best with? I mean, obviously, the vibe and where you're at and the set and the setting and all that stuff. But what else? Like, what are some things that you think your brand and your tequila like just really pair well with?
yeah. I mean, you're meaning beyond like food and that
All
kind
that,
of stuff.
yeah.
But like in the world, what does it pair with? It's a great question. I think that it pairs really well with music. Like I was a musician forever, but like a huge fan of music, and something about like this sounds really nerdy, but something about sound waves and the way you experience things while you're in that moment for whatever it is. I just blast my Sonos and I sit on the couch. Seems kind of weird, but just solo and just sip on Bobamos, and I'm like, that plays. Really plays. I mean, you know, like, and again, probably in the 70s, they would sit back on the couch and smoke a joint and listen to music. Like it kind of still has this same resonance and cadence when you're like, I'm in this moment, and it helped. Like Bobamos is helping make that moment more special than just sitting there listening to music, but it's like it's tying it together. And I know that's a weird thing to say it pairs with, but I feel like it does.
Speaking of the word Bobamos, you know, I noticed that, you know, that your wife's company was We Drink Bubbles. Yeah. And then how quickly did Bobamos come right out of We Drink? I mean, how did that happen? Or
Bubbles, my wife's company, then We Drink Tequila was our import distribution company. And when we decided, we're going to do this, like what are we going to name it? John immediately was like, Bobamos. And I was like, what? I was like,
What does that mean?
he's like, we drink. It's just, why would we not throw homage to everything that got us where we are? So it is a fitting
Fun
word too, because you're like, we do drink, and Bobamos is a fun word to say. Yeah,
and
it
it's
is a fun
together.
word.
Bebemos means, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's we drink. It's not just,
no, yeah, it's
I drink.
yeah, it's not I drink.
It's a little
Bebemos.
creepy.
Yeah,
it's always a social.
yeah. When we
type
were coming up with We Drink Bubbles years ago, that was the conversation was like, how do we make it inclusive? Like, how do we make the name of this brand something that like is not something you do on your own, but we are a community together, and that's where We Drink Bubbles came from. And I'm like, yeah, we drink bubbles. It totally makes sense. Like, you do this in community, which is how we're all designed to live anyway. It's just helpful when there's a bottle of, something in front of you.
Is there before we like kind of move to the rapid fire questions here to wrap up? Is there anything about the company's story that we haven't got to hear that we should hear?
I think talking a little bit more about Patrick Tracy, the creative director, it would be cool, because he, again, another one of those miracles that he would be like, yeah, I'm going to devote all this time, all this attention to this brand, and he's part of the company, but he's at the top of his game. He is one of the most sought after creative directors on the planet, and that he's working, that little startup tequila company is just crazy. But his work, like his mistakes, are better than something that would take me 20 years to come up with. So a good friend of mine, Dave Cook, grew up with him. And when we told Dave that John and I were going to start this tequila company called We Drink Tequila, and we were going to be going to Mexico and we wanted to start telling the farmer stories, we asked him, like, hey, you have a camera. Like, will you kind of like come down and help document it and whatever? And he's like, no. He's like, you got to talk to my buddy Patrick. And we're like, okay, what's his story? And he shows us, and we're like, we can't afford to do any of that. And he goes, you might have just timed it right, because he's getting into tequila and he's like right at the point of obsession. And I think if you say like, hey, come down to Mexico with us, check this out, he might be in. And we're like, okay, cool. So we got on the phone with him. We talked for an hour. Totally love him. I mean, he's become one of my best friends. And we go down to Mexico together, and he's like, I'm in. Let's roll. So yeah, it's
So
wild.
he's a part of the company too?
Yeah, he's a co-founder.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
That's
how
a
much money we
miracle.
raise, we could not afford him for what he does. Like he won the music video of the year, like Grammy music video of the year. Like, he's a freak at what he does.
So for us, you probably know what it means, but for us novices, when you explain what he does, how does he fit into this? What did he do?
So anything that's look, feel, or touch, and even like, I would say sound, is all Patrick.
So like the texture of these squares
Totally.
and this piece up here. What are these? Is this something?
No,
It's just a design.
It's just a design that we thought fit the vibe of the time, the era. We wanted it to feel timeless, and like it came from that time era, and the color and everything. So that's where the checkered came from, because there's a ton, like if you look back, there's a lot of like checkered glass and checkered
couches that have that
yeah.
texture on
Totally.
them, and
It's all over the place. So that was a find. We partnered with a guy, Chad Michael Studios, to develop the bottle for us, and he submitted this bottle design to the UK, I guess, distilled spirits competition, and we just won gold for best design, which is really cool.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
it just came out today. Yeah.
When we started with C3, it was almost 6 years ago, by the way, 6 years ago in August. So like we're right there. And, at that time, it was a couple years in for you guys. Nobody really knew who C3 was. And we've been on calls where we've been showing you case study of the work we do with C3, and multiple people like, oh, I know those. Oh, I have a friend that works there. I know that. I know who they are. And I'm like, wow, like it was such a cool feeling when you
Yes.
when
Oh yeah.
the people, we were early on that story and now people are excited to say, oh, I know them. Like somebody who knew Wella and they were like, my friend works there. Like, of course, Wella, everybody knows Wella, but at the early stages, I had a friend who said this to me. So I'll say it to you because when I first started Quento, which was 6 years ago, a year later, we did our summer skip day. And we had four, it was only five of us at the time. And we went out for the day as five of us. And my friend, Nelson's wife sent me a note. Yeah, Angie, she started our business. They did great, sold it. And she was like, oh my God, I remember those days. I remember those days, cherish the moment because one day
Yeah.
we rented a little boat. She's like, one day you're gonna be too big for that boat, my friend. And like that story of like, and I still look at that picture. I'm like, oh God, we're too big for that boat right now, which is a great thing. But
Yeah.
same thing, right? In the early stages, those breakthrough moments, and as people connect with your story, it just becomes so magical.
That the beginning is a lot of work, but it is something that later in life you look back on all the time. I mean, anytime that I've built a business and kind of look back on where it was, the origin story, and we were just having lunch with our sales staff 2 days ago, and I said essentially the same thing. I was like, let's just pause for a minute. Like we're all just having lunch at Tony G. Call's and Solana Beach, and we're like, this is magical. Let's just take a moment to enjoy this because a year, 2 years from now, like we might all be doing totally different things. And like, this is rare to get this time together and enjoy it. Like we're all on the same team, we're all growing it, but everybody might be off running their own little challenge. So like be in the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe we skip rapid fire because I want to ask as well. With investment, it takes capital to do these things, and it's hard, as we said a bunch of times, in a crowded market to get people willing to do those things. I'm curious, on behalf of the entrepreneurs out there, with your first company creating a subscription, you alluded to 26 investors or something.
Oh, with 50. Yeah.
50 investors there. It was probably hard then to get those 50 investors to do that first thing. Yeah. And now you're raising capital again. What was the benefit of having done it before? And did any of that prior experience cast into the current experience?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, raising $10 from your grandma is tough. Like it's raising capital in general is always hard. With the first 50, when we started We Drink Tequila, again, Patrick created this beautiful montage video explaining what we were doing and what we were looking for in Patrick fashion. And so we would just play it for people and every single person said yes. We didn't get one person that said no when we were starting We Drink Tequila. Again, the ask was small. It was $5,000. So like most people, if you don't have $5,000, I get it. For sure, we were never going to push anybody, but most people are like $5,000 and I get this tequila and I'm a part of this thing. No brainer. So we got those 50 people to come in at that. But then when we started Bobamos, it's a much different, because We Drink Tequila was always supposed to be a boutique import distribution company as this quarterly club. Bobamos, when we were building it, we're like, if we're going to do this and do all of it right, and people love it, it's going to be much bigger than a little boutique fun project. And so raising the capital for that has been a different conversation because we've got more spreadsheets than I care to look at, and they're constantly being updated and poured over by these people that some of our investors are like, yeah, I'm the CFO of $1 billion hedge fund. And I'm like, oh, geez, what are you going to think of our books? Like what's going on? But I think the beauty in that is that we have now had probably 67, I think as of yesterday, people say yes to large amounts of money. And every time I spend $1, I want it to be worth $10 for them because I'm like, these people are believing me to make this something special. But also the people, the maybe 67 people that have said no, I also want to make it special for them, not in a like, haha, right? This, you didn't invest. Like I wish everybody would have, but I also want them to see like, yeah, you know what? Like he did what he said he was going to do, and he's continuing to. And so like, even though I didn't invest, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. That
I'm still a brand
I'm
champion.
still a brand champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any of them are like on the wayside where I'm like, screw you guys, didn't invest. It's like, no, gosh, I respect everybody to even sit through listening to our pitch and going through it. But like for the people who believed in us, I'm like, we're gonna make this thing pop.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any?
No.
All right. I'm going to move to the final 2 questions and
You know, thinking back to the early days and where you guys are going, like, what have you discovered along the way that you would give advice, you know, say advice to your younger self?
There's I'll try not to tell the longest version of this story, but there's this parable essentially of this Chinese farmer, and he's out there working with the son, and his son falls off the horse, you know, breaks his leg, and people are like, my gosh, you know, your son broke his leg, like this bad. And he goes, how do you know? And then next day the army comes through because they're going to war, and they're like drafting all the kids, but his son's got a broken leg, so he doesn't have to go to the war. So then the neighbor comes by and he's like, that's great news. And he's like, how do you know? And then the people come back from war, and they had, you know, plummeted, and they have all of these riches, but since his son didn't go, they're like, that's bad news for you, right? And he's like, how do you know? And then people hear about all the money that came in, and they come in and they raid and they kill everybody and steal all their money. But since this family didn't have any, they stay alive. So the neighbor comes by, he's like, that's great news. And he's like, how do you know? The whole moral of that story is like, whenever things happen for us, I'm constantly living in this, how do I know it's good? And I think for us, it's irrelevant of what's good or what's bad. It's just being in this and going like, I'm so blessed to be a part of it. And so regardless of this journey, I'm just seeing the upside of it. And so trying to keep that like positive mentality for the entire team, which is like, we are on a rocket ship. Like, just hold on, and whatever, you know, like pieces are going to fly off and all these things are going to happen, but like, just hold on, because I believe all of it's good. If that answers any of
No,
that
absolutely.
question. Okay.
it does. Yeah. Yeah. I love that answer, actually. So the final question then is, within all of us, you know, is something special, but in every entrepreneur person who's created something, there's a little something in there that is what makes you specifically special and capable of having pulled this all together. What is that?
I'm like a little obsessive compulsive,
A little
maybe.
off your rocker?
A little off, a little crazy. Yeah. You know, I want to give credit to my wife, to my business partners, all of the people that have kind of poured into me to get to being able to have enough balance mentally to sustain working, you know, 18-hour days. I think that for me, the thing that kind of like maybe is my differentiator is back to that same point. Like I'm a realist, but I'm optimistic about all of the outcomes. I truly believe that good is happening all the time. You just have to see it. And so I think bringing that into a team environment helps keep the morale high, but I think it also helps inspire people. And so when we have team meetings and then, you know, they kind of send them out to go, you know, 2 by 2 and take over the city, it's like they know that they're backed by a leader that's like, hey, I got your back. We're doing good stuff here. Like, let's rock and roll. And I think when you're a salesperson and you're out there and you're hustling, sometimes days don't go the way you want them to, but to know like we got people that are, you know, still cheering me on, I think it really helps. I mean, I've been in sales my whole life, and knowing, you know, there's someone going like, hey, I got your back. You need help, I got your back. Like I think that's what I bring to the table for Bobamos, is like, I got everyone's back.
I like it. We were, Gabe and I were just on a podcast recently. It was about culture and stuff. And they were like, what's the most underrated leadership quality? So there's all the obvious leadership qualities. But I answered, I think the most underrated is calm and chaos. You know, it's a little bit of that optimistic viewpoint, or just realization that everything happens for a reason. So maybe we had to learn this lesson, or we had to this, or we had to that. It's fine. I'm not going to overreact to it. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to have everybody's back, and we're just going to take the next step forward. I think that's a little bit of what you're tying into there, and I think it is such an important leadership quality.
Yeah. I mean, things, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And so as long as you're understanding that, it's great. It's when you can't.
Right.
That's when you panic and freak out and, you know, you burn the ships on accident.
As the leader, you know, the team is looking to you to not freak out. Because if you freak out, you know, 50 people freaking out is just utter chaos.
Yeah.
If you can stay calm, they may be freaking out on the inside, but they'll at least have something to look to and say, wait, why aren't they freaking out? They have way more to lose than I do, right? Like if you're in a small company, which like we all are, right? Like if you're freaking out, everybody's looking around freaking out. And there are days, like we all have them where you're like,
Yeah, oh, for sure.
oh, wow, that was a tough one. But you still, you know, when I worked at the Padres, I was very fortunate. I had a parking spot in the player parking lot. It was cool because it had your name there. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I feel like I made it, right?
Yeah.
But it was also like my check-in point when I'd park, that I would look up and see that and like every day check myself, be like, that is really cool. It comes with some expectations as soon as that
Responsibility there.
as soon as that door opens, everything that just happened, I have to block it out right now because I had to walk this long hallway. And on that hallway, I passed people cleaning the floors. I passed people in accounting, all these other industries where all these other jobs, which are all great jobs. They looked at my job like I played with toys for a living, which I do. But like, I knew if I didn't bring that sense of like, I got this, we got this, we're going to be okay. The team just lost 5 in a row. We're going to be okay, right? Like same thing when you walk into a small business. If you walk in and it's like, oh, everybody can feel it, right? And it's like, yeah, like the chaos comes too. It comes usually at you more than it does at them. But if you let it affect, it'll affect all your people.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
It's contagious. I mean, in both senses, you know, so yeah, 100%.
That's good.
Dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
We're brand ambassadors now too. We're gonna put our energy behind it and tell the story to everybody we can.